Speaking of the women's game, I referenced that my first time meeting you was on an international trip. I saw your passion. I said, Dr. Sayers, you're from Wales. Football's a big deal over here. Like, for you to be so passionate and be here in America, that's gotta kind of be like a drag with this soccer. You said, not at all, Holly. I work in women's soccer. We are the best in the world. At that time, well, you had already been the winningest coach in ETSU women's soccer history, and you also have a role with U.S. women's soccer team.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah.
What do you do there?
So with the youth women's national teams, I work as a sports scientist, and I've so my Ph.D. is in sports science. My master's is in sport management and sports science, and my Ph.D. is specifically sports science. And from 2015 onwards, I've served as a sports scientist for the youth women's national teams, which is it's been an incredible honor. It's an honor because I'm going to just tie it into our last discussion. The sitting during that World Cup, I keep pointing at your jersey because I love it. It's iconic.
What year is it again?
1994. 94 World Cup jersey. Sitting in my house in Wales, watching the US team in that World Cup, and being so inspired to get to America, to work to get to America, and being inspired by that team and those players and by this federation, to then be in a situation where I can give back to that federation and I can serve them and help these generations of players come through those youth systems and then go on to a professional career or go on to a senior career is the ultimate honor. It's an incredible honor in itself and a pleasure. But when I think of it in that context, that I'm able to give back to the federation that was so inspirational to me is an absolute dream. So I've been with them since 2015. I've worked with every age group at some point, from under 15s up to under 23s. Actually, we just returned from the under 20 World Cup in Costa Rica last month, which again was a fantastic experience.
Talk to us about that trip, Dr. Sayers, and sports science specifically. Describe some of your duties. What are your days like with these young athletes? So it's centered around everything physical. So on camp and in tournaments, we monitor the players as much as we can and communicate with the players as much as we can in terms of getting feedback, physical feedback and physical monitoring data from them. So each morning we ask the players to complete wellness questionnaires regarding physical and psychological well-being. Basically, how are they feeling? Are they sore? What are the soreness sites? And how are you feeling from what was your quality of sleep? Your amount of sleep? How are you feeling from a stress standpoint, etc. So data points that we can collect. Sort of between myself and the medical staff, analyse and provide any pertinent feedback to the player that can help them perform better and feel better in our environment. Once we start training, we monitor everything they do with tracking devices, so heart rate monitors and GPS devices, and it gives us lots of metrics that we can analyse their performance and analyse the training session itself and give feedback to the coaching staff so they can plan the sort of the following training sessions and the following matches, and then and obviously provide feedback to the clubs and the colleges in which the environments in which the players are in away from the national team setup, and then how does your leadership skills and training impact this role? How do you utilize those skills in this role?
So I think in several ways. Initially, I'm a member of the staff, the overall staff. There's a technical staff, which is the coaching staff, the head coach, 2 assistant coaches, goalkeeper coach, usually. And then there's a medical staff, team doctor on international trips and tournaments at home, athletic trainers always with the team. So I work very closely with the medical staff. And there's a broad group of support staff who are all excellent at their roles, videographers, coordinators, wonderful elite professionals. And when you function as part of a team in that regard,
then those leadership skills become very important. How do we best utilize all of our individual qualities and expertise and synergize them to best serve the group of players that we have, to best serve the national team program, and ultimately best serve the country. Essentially, that's what we do. When we go overseas and we compete, we're representing the United States of America. We're wearing the badge.
Yes.
And it's an incredible honour to do that. It's very humbling. And then likewise, so I mentioned servant leadership earlier.
Yes, sir.
So again, I tend to adopt that approach, and serve that group as much as I can. Serve the head coach. Serve all the other members of staff in the best way that I possibly can. And conceptually, likewise for the players, how do I, within my role within that staff, how do I best serve the players so they have the best platform that they can go out and perform to their absolute maximum, so they can achieve their objectives, which is to play well individually, to win the game for America collectively, and then ultimately, longer term, go on to a professional career and a career with the senior national team.
Dr. Sayers, it's interesting that you speak about being a leader in terms of, I guess, being a team member. You know, you explain that I'm a part of a team, but I can still be a leader in my role as a member of the team. Being a leader doesn't always mean being on a pedestal or being higher up than other people. So that is very interesting to hear you say that.